even though the shir tonight is based on Medrashim, Divrei Agada, and Chazal, nevertheless, as we're learning Hilchas Basar v'Chalav, Sina Peizai and Peiches Peites, many halachas come out from this discussion, which is Negeya halacha lamaisa. The Gemara says in Shabbos, the Gemara in Shabbos, that Peiches Amid Beis, for Amr Bishua ben Levi, B'shah Sha'ala Moshe L'Amoreh, when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to get to the Torah. So the Malachim said, whoa, it was always up here, the Klal Yisrael, you want to take the Torah down. V'amru Malachi Asharas L'Fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rebbeinu Shalom, Mal Yilud Isha Beinenu, why should people get the Torah? Amar Lahem, L'Kabel HaTorah, they came to take the Torah. And the Gemara says that the issue of why the Malachim are not Negeya, have no shaykhs to getting the Torah, is because there are Seres Adibris. It says, Anoich Hashem Elokecha Asher Tesicha Meretz Mitzrayim, Klum, did you Malachim come out of Mitzrayim? There's a mitzvah of resting on Shabbos. Klum, you Malachim work during the week that you have to rest on Shabbos. So that was the Taina, and Klal Yisrael got the Torah. The Medrash, this is a Medrash Shoichatov on Tehillim. The Medrash goes on after the Luchas were broken, and by Luchas Shniyos, when Moshe Rabbeinu went up for the second time, the story happened again. The Malachim again said that, why are you giving it? And the Malachim actually came with a taina. You're giving the Torah to Klal Yisrael. Look, they were over Avodah Zarah. It says, Leisilacha, and Lamaisa, they were over Avodah Zarah. So how are you giving them the Torah? So the Medrash says, how are you giving the Torah to Klal Yisrael? Just yesterday, they were over on the Torah. Shekasafta ba la'yilacha elahim achirim amalam HaKadosh Baruch Hu loy atem k'shiyaradatem etzel Avraham. When the Malachim in this week's parasha went to Avraham Avinu, achaltem basar v'chalav, you ate basar v'chalav, shenemar, it says in the parasha, this week's, the parasha, vayika chema v'chalav, uben abakar v'yachelu, you ate basar v'chalav. So Mamela, what are you saying about that they were over, you were also over, and Mamela, Klal Yisrael got the Lucha Shniyos. Just going to finish up the Lashon HaMedrash because it's going to be Negeya throughout what we're going to discuss. The Medrash says, V'tinuk shalahem, even a little child, Keshu ba mebeis Rabbi, when he comes up from Cheder and his Rabbi and his mother wants to feed him, Naisenas lepas, Basar, meat and cheese, lechol, and the kid says, V'hu oimer Allah, hayoim lamadati Rabbi, but they told me in Cheder today, Loit savashal gadi b'chalev imoy, the isser of basar v'chalav, and isser basar v'chalav, and you have to, in other words, to eat. We'll see the lashon vayta. Ba'oisa shah, the Eibusha said, k'soiv l'chas advar ma'il. The next pasuk, give them the Torah. What's mavur in the Medrash is that the Malachim ate basar v'chalav. We have to try to figure out how they got the basar v'chalav. That the Malachim ate the basar v'chalav is not our nidun. We're not worried about it. The shaila is, how did the Malachim get the basar v'chalav? How was their basar v'chalav? We spoke about it last year. That's the basics in basar v'chalav. The iser achila, to eat milk and meat together midairaisa, is only if it was cooked together. If it was not cooked together, there is no iser eating basar v'chalav midairaisa. So let's understand. The Malachim got chema v'chalav. So if it was cooked already, we understand that they were over the Isser eating basar v'chalav. But how did they get cooked basar v'chalav? What are you going to tell me? Avraham cooked it. Avraham didn't cook it because it says in the Gemara in Yuma, Kiyim Avraham Avinu kol Torah kula achlei nitli, was Makayim the whole Torah. So Mamela Avraham Avinu obviously didn't cook the basar v'chalav. So if he didn't cook it, so where was the Isser that they were over on eating basar v'chalav? They could have ate it together, but Mederaisa, you're only over on the Achila, only if it was cooked together. And if it wasn't cooked, they weren't over. And who cooked it? Avraham Avinu didn't cook it. That's the Chanukah's HaTorah's Shaila, and we'll see Terutzim. But the Shaila is, how did Avraham Avinu prepare this meal of basar v'chalav? How did he prepare it and cook it together? One teretz is brought in the Stipler and Birchas Peretz, the Stipler says that the Malachim actually cooked it also. The Das Zakanim over here says, Vayochelu, how did the Malachim eat it? The Malachim ate it by burning it. They burnt it in their mouth. The Goyen says over here also, Vayochelu, that these Malachim, the Malachim that people could see are the same Malachim that eat the karbanis from the Mizbeach, which is also Sreifa, which means that the Achilu was they burning the food in their mouth. So Mamela what? So Mamela, the Malachim were also Mavashal. They did the Basar V'chal of the Bishul, and besides cooking it, not only did they cook it, they ate it. They did Bishul Basar V'chal, Achilas Basar V'chal. Rabbi Leo asked before, so Scheiner Ara, that it's l'chayra not so clear that it should be Bishul, because regular Bishul is Bishul in a pot. Maybe they should go into the Shaila we discussed last time about Sli. But that's the first teretz that the Malachim were the ones who actually accomplished that it should be Bishul Basar V'chalav, and therefore they ate it. That's what the Medrash says, that they were over eating Basar V'chalav in their mouths. They cooked it and they ate it. They bring in Derech Sicha from Hachaim Kanevsky, the Stipler's son, that they asked him the question, why does the Medrash say that the Malachim were over on Achilas Basar V'chalav? They were over already before on Bishul. These are Isser Bishul to cook Basar V'chalav even if you don't eat it. And these are Isser to eat even if you don't cook. So why does the Medrash say the Malachim, you were over on eating Basar V'chalav? They were also over on cooking Basar V'chalav. They cooked it through eating. You mean really, when it says eating, it also says, so maybe it says, you're saying you ate Basar V'chalav means, and you also cooked it also. It's nichla both. The Chaim Kanevsky said a teretz. He brings a Chassam Sofer in Chulin. The Chassam Sofer says, he learns it up in a Rambam. He says also it's a Medrash, that the Isser, we spoke about this last time also, he says that the Isser of Basar V'chalav is really to eat. These are Tanai that it has to be Derech Bishul. And even the Isser of Bishul is only because Bishul brings to eat, to the Torah acid Bishul also. But the Yesoida Isser of Basar V'chalav, what's the Isser of Basar V'chalav? The Torah acid Basar V'chalav is eating, not cooking. Avad, the cooking itself is 100% the Isser. But if they cook the Basar V'chalav and they ate it, if we're gonna, the Medrash is saying what they were over on eating. Just to point out, we said last time from the Chinuch says the opposite. The Chinuch says that the Isser Basar V'chalav, the reason is because they taruvas, mixing Basar and Chalav, bad things come out, says the Chinuch. Why is there an Isser Achila? So he says the Torah wanted to go so far to be marchik from the mixing that even to asa eating, because we're afraid if we're going to let you eat, you might come to mix. But the Isser is the mixing. He was saying the opposite. The Yesoida Isser of Basar V'chalav is not the mixing. The Yesoida Isser is the eating. So that's the first teretz to answer when the Medrash says that Avraham Avinu served them and they ate Basar V'chalav. Avraham Avinu didn't make any Basar V'chalav, but when they ate it, they cooked it and ate Basar V'chalav. Another teretz, he says, is that Enochanami Taka. They weren't over the deraisa. They were not over any deraisa of Basar V'chalav. They were over Issa D'Rabbanan. He rather says the Issa D'Rabbanan that they weren't noitel yadayim. It's here in the Siman. It's the Siman Peitas, Siv Beis, that you're supposed to wash your hands, at least some cases, to be noitel yadayim between eating milchiks and fleishiks. You're supposed to wash your hands. Between dairy and meat, you wash your hands, and they didn't wash their hands. The question is that if it's only Issa D'Rabbanan, what was the big taina? They were Claudius. What was the taina on the Malachim that they were over Issa D'Rabbanan? Issa D'Rabbanan, it's taka, but that was the taina. You ate Basar V'chalav Issa D'Rabbanan. Yeah, that could also be loisasa, so it's issa deraisa. But the truth is, so then it's really not that you ate basar v'chalav. You were even loisasa. The Chassam Sofer answers. He doesn't answer this kasha on the stipler, obviously, but the Chassam Sofer says the aside here in basar v'chalav, and he says that this Medrash says that they were over on eating basar. They were over by eating basar v'chalav. Frek the Chassam Sofer, that's what they were over on eating basar v'chalav. There's a Gemara. The Gemara says, the Gemara in Gittin of Samach Amar Aleph, the Gemara says, Al pi advara me'ela karati itach bris, al pi advara me'ela. So what's advara me'ela? Advara me'ela is Torah Shebal Peh. So, which would seem not basar v'chalav. He asks a steerer from the Medrash to what the Gemara says, that Klal Yisrael got the Torah al pi advara me'ela, which means Torah Shebal Peh. So the Chassam Sofer asks, why did they get the Torah? Did they get the Torah because the Malach? Why did we get the Torah? Did we get the Torah because the Malachim were over on the Isser of basar v'chalav, or because they were over al pi advara me'ela Torah Shebal Peh? So the Chassam Sofer says in Chulin they're both true. They were over on basar v'chalav, but they were over on basar v'chalav on Torah Shebal Peh. So Mamela, like one territory we saw in the stipler that the Torah Shebal Peh, the Isser the Rabbanon that they were over was the Isser of that they didn't wash their hands in between. The Chassam Sofer himself actually says a different teretz to answer this question. What was the Isser that they were over? Also a Isser the Rabbanon, but he says the Isser the Rabbanon is like we'll see also over there in Simon Peites that there's a halacha Sif Beis that you kinuach. Besides rinsing your mouth, you're also supposed to eat something in between milk and meat. Kinuach. These are machlokes in the Gemara if kinuach is dafka bepas or kinuach is bechol davar. The Shulchan Aruch actually brings ubavach yaim yadav v'tzarich lekaneach piv ula hadichoy v'kinuach hu sheilo is pas and then v'chein bechol davar. The Gemara brings a machlokes what you're supposed to rinse your mouth. Besides rinse in water, is it dafka with pas or any other item as well? So the Chassam Sofer says, Laman da Amar da kinuach is bepas. Memela, when the Gemara, they prepared pas, but it says that Saru was pirsa nida, so they didn't bring any pas, right? It's mavur that they prepared but never brought out the pas. So the Malachim were not mekaneach piv, and Mela they were over on that Issa D'Rabbanan. So the second and third teretz is that when the Medrash says that the Malachim were over on basar v'chalav, they weren't over on basar v'chalav d'oraisa, they were over on basar v'chalav d'Rabbanan. Just to point out on these terutzim that they were over on an Issa D'Rabbanan, the Chida in Pesach Einayim on Chulin, the Chida says that the Avos were not Makayim mitzvahs d'Rabbanan. Af Yitzchak Avinu Olav Hashem Kaim Kol HaTorah Kula K'Avraham L'maisa Gzeiris d'Rabbanan Asidin Ligzar L'fi Shnois Dor L'Kayim. They were not Makayim Gzeiris and Dinim d'Rabbanan. The Avos were not Makayim. The same thing is also the Marsha. The Marsha is in Yumach of Chesam and Beis in Chedusha Agadis. The Marsha says on this that it says that they were Makayim, Torah Shebeksav and Torah Shebal Peh. So the Marsha says, Torah Shebal Peh, what's the definition of Torah Shebal Peh? Torah Shebal Peh is Allah Moshe Messinai, and things that we were mas mechakra, Erev, Tavshilim, Tchumen, something that we were mas mechakra, they were Makayim. But mitzvahs the Rabbanon, Isuri the Rabbanon, they weren't Makayim. So then the shaila would be on this second and third teretz that if they were makayim, if the Avos weren't makayim mitzvahs derabbanan, which the pshat is because it wasn't a gay. Only later when they saw you have to make a gzeira of muktzah, other gzeiras they made the gzeiras. Earlier on there was no mokum to be makayim the gzeiras derabbanan. So if they weren't makayim the gzeiras derabbanan, what's the taina on the malachim? Achaltam basar v'chalav. That's why you can't have the Torah. The Avos also weren't Makayim Gzeiris D'Rabbanan. So what do we have so far? So far we have one teretz is that it was taka bash of a cholav that they ate midiraisa, it was bishul, and they themselves cooked it. The second and third teretz is that it was only bas of a cholav d'Rabbanan. The bas of a cholav d'Rabbanan was either they didn't wash their hands, or they weren't mekaneach piv, they didn't rinse their mouth eating bread in between the milk and the meat. The next teretz, the fourth teretz, is mavur in the Meshech Chachma. The Meshech Chachma over here says that this Ben Bakar that Avraham Avinu served was a Ben Pekua. What's a Ben Pekua? Ben Pekua is when you shech the mother and the baby's inside and then it comes out. A Ben Pekua, the halacha is that the shechita of the mother helps for the baby also. You don't have to make a shechita on the baby. That's a din of Ben Pekua. In Siman Yud Gimel, in the beginning of Yeridea, the din is there's no din of Avraham and Hachaim. That's the din of Ben Pekua. And Mamela says the Meshech Chachma, the halacha by Ben Pekua is that the milk from a Ben Pekua doesn't have a din of milk. He shows that based off the halacha is by us over here, by chalav mesa. If you take out milk from a dead animal, or for the same price, how the Shach, the Taz explains, which is really the Gemara, shchuta, if you shecht an animal and you take out the milk, that milk doesn't have a din of chalav to cause bas of a chalav. So Mamela, why not? Why is there no bas of a chalav on milk from a shchuta? Because the Torah says, Lo savasha gdi b'chalev imoy. B'chalev imoy means that it has to be imoy, it has to be roi leilid, roi to be a mother, roi leilid. And once it's shachot or once it's mace, it's not roi leilid. Says the Meshech Chachma that a Ben Pekua, since it has a din shachot, so mameli, the chalav doesn't have a din of chalav. What? Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. Very good. We'll get to that. You're asking it to roi leilid. We'll discuss it in a minute. Let's first see the teretz and we'll go into it. That's a little bit we want to discuss also. Marasayin is a good shmooze for itself. Yeah, taka is a b'chlal. Yeah, Marasayin is a good point, Mordechai, what you're pointing out. Let's leave it on the side. But we'll get to the shaila of Chalev Ima in a minute. So let's first see the teretz. Zok the Meshech Chachma, since the milk doesn't have a din of milk, the meat seemingly does have a din of meat, the pashtas. The milk doesn't have a din of milk of a Ben Pekua. So Mamela, Avad Avraham Avinu Taka cooked it. He prepared it, he Taka cooked it in that milk. But since that milk doesn't have a din of milk, so there's no bas of a chalav, was not a problem. And Mamela, that's how Avraham Avinu was able to prepare it. Oh, so that's really the shaila. It's a good shaila. You're asking very good. What was the taina on the Malachim now? What was the taina on the Malachim that they ate bas of a chalav? They didn't eat bas of a chalav. That's a very good question.
They didn't know it was a Ben Pekua. They thought they was.
That's one yishuv that you could say, Rabbi Yo, very good that they didn't know. Let's Nachum. The yishuv, how Avraham Avinu prepared it because it's a Ben Pekua Sameli. There's no issa bas of a chalav. So that's why Avraham Avinu wasn't over. Clear. But Lamaisa, the Medrash says, Yaakov, very good. The Medrash says clearly that they were over on bas of a chalav of eating. It's not bas of a chalav. So there's a few different terutzim. Either teretz are not clear, but Yo wants to say that they didn't know. So Lamaisa, the Gemara says, Nischaven lechol basar chazir v'achal basar tled. The Gemara in Kedushin, Rashi brings it over there in Matos. It's cool that it means boy kapara, but that's cool that it's achal basar v'chalav. I don't know if that's a yishuv. I don't know. I thought about it also. What? The taina was that they ate basar v'chalav. So the shaila is a good shaila. You're asking well. The yishuv. That was the yishuv that he told him. Echol, he only thought. Another teretz is that the din Ben Pekua that has a din shachot is only for someone who has a din for Yisrael. And the Malachim didn't have a din Yisrael yet, so maybe they didn't have the heter of Ben Pekua. That's also maybe a yishuv. Another yishuv, if the Ilm's already tzakacht in the question, just a second, another yishuv, which is learned up, Rav Moshe Sternbuch, on Mayadam Izmanim and Shavuos, when he speaks about this with Ben Pekua, he learns up like this, the Meshach Chacham. It's kind of clear that the Taina wasn't, I don't know how it goes into the Lashon HaMedrash, it says that they ate Basar v'chalav. The Taina was that, you see, when you were by Avraham Avinu and he cooked the meat in the milk, how did he do it? The teretz is because Ben Pekua is already a din ha-Torah, so like the Lashon is Shaloi heim noitlam. They already have the Torah. Another yishuv, but it's still shred. The Lashon HaMedrash says that you ate Basar v'chalav. What will you say? You have a yishuv, what's the they ate Basar v'chalav? Wait a minute, what do you mean, not Yisrael, and therefore what? Lagabe using the heter of Ben Pekua. No, that's fine. But Lamaisa, they can't have a taina to keep the Torah and Shamayim, because Lamaisa, they ate Basar v'chalav. They can't use the heter of Ben Pekua. No, they wanted the Torah up there. They don't have, the din of Ben Pekua is not from the mitzvahs. It's a din that has a din shachat. Is that only Yisrael has? It's not a different Torah. It's dinim, not the mitzvahs. You're saying the Malachim also should have had it. Lamaisa, to get into this discussion a little bit about this milk, let's just move into, if it's in the gay right here, Simon Pei Zayin, does this milk have a din milk or not? So from the Meshach Chacham is mavur that a milk of a Ben Pekua doesn't have a din milk, it won't cause Basar v'chalav. Rabbi Avraham already pointed out that what was a tzushtel, what we saw from the din of shchuta and the din of shchuta and the din of and mesa. So over there, the din is that it's pater. I'm sorry, not pater. It doesn't have a din chalav for Basar v'chalav. The reason why it doesn't have a din Basar v'chalav is because b'chalev imoy it has to be royal leilit. So those are not royal leilit. The Ben Pekua is royal leilit. Reb Kiveg is mesupik. And he blives by a tzarachian. If chalav of a Ben Pekua does it have a din chalav or not? He's mesupik. What's the tzad that it should not have? Because lamaisa, since a Ben Pekua has a din shachat, so it has the din of a shachat. The Shara Melech in Isurim Mizbeach comes out that it doesn't have a din chalav. Reb Kivega brings a raya from the Gemara B'chayris. Brings a raya from the Gemara B'chayris that chalav from a Ben Pekua doesn't have a din chalav for Basar v'chalav. What's his raya? The Gemara in B'chayris Davavam the Beis asks a shaila. How do we know that chalav is mutter? Why is it not a problem of yotzeh? Meaning to say is, while the behemoth is alive, it's Avraham and Hachaim. So yotzim, just like yotzim and atame is a problem, how is the milk mutter? How are we allowed to drink milk from a behemoth Torah? It's a Gemara, B'chayris Tavavam and Aleph. So the Gemara says, maybe I have a raya from Basar v'chalav. We need a pasuk in the Torah to aser Basar v'chalav. To say cooking them together is aser. Seemingly each one separate is mutter. That's the Gemara. So Reb Kivega says, wait a minute. What's the raya from Basar v'chalav that obviously regular chalav is mutter? La'olam, I'll tell you, regular chalav is aser. Regular chalav is aser. Where do you need the pasuk to say Basar v'chalav? You need it in a certain case of Ben Pekua, that the milk, over there it's mutter, because over there there's no Avim and Achai. Ben Pekua is no Avim and Achai. In such a case, you need the Torah to say over there that is Isser, Basar v'chalav. Why didn't the Gemara say that? Al Karchach, Dr. Kivega, you see that chalav from a Ben Pekua doesn't have a din chalav l'gabi Basar v'chalav. So maybe the Gemara couldn't bring this to bring a raya. Mi'idach, the Noidi B'Yehuda argues. The Noidi B'Yehuda holds that the chalav of a Ben Pekua is considered chalav, and if you cook milk from a Ben Pekua together with meat, you're even isser of bishul Basar v'chalav. Machlokes, Rabbi Yehuda says it has a din chalav. So Lamaisa, since it's b'machloikes shinuya, this fourth teretz of the Meshech Chachma is not so clear. The Meshech Chachma says that it didn't have a din chalav, so Mamela Avraham Avinu was able to cook it. It's not possible chalav. Lamaisa, and Rabbi Yehuda learns that this milk is yes considered chalav. There would be a problem of cooking it. That was the Machlokes Avraham and the Malachim. The Taina. Lamaisa, just to sum up this Machlokes, there's a back and forth in the Achronim. Lamaisa, the Torah says B'chalev Imoy. Pashas B'chalev Imoy means Ru'uya Leilit. So a lot of the Achronim bring a raya, and the Sefer Yad Yud is even Medayik. If you take a look at Lashon in the Shulchan Aruch, the Rambam, they say Chalev Mesa. The Gemara says Shchuta. Why did they change the Lashon? Because the Torah says it's nothing to do with Shchuta. The din is Mesa means that it's not Roya Leilid, which would mean a Ben Pekua. It could be Shchuta from today till tomorrow. If it's Roya Leilid, it has a din Chalav. That's the Medayik from a Rashi. Rashi says, the Lashon Rashi. Rashi says, U'mamayit Chalav Shchuta from Chalev Imoy, because it's not Chalev Imoy. Because it's not Chalev Imoy. Mi'idach, the Chassam Sofer, which really comes out, he's really being matzia like his father-in-law, Reb Kiveger. The Chassam Sofer brings some Tosfos. Tosfos seems to learn that the Isser is, the problem is Lafuke Shchuta. The Torah says Chalev Imoy, but the Torah doesn't really mean Ru'yu Leila. The Torah, it's a way of saying Lemu'ute Shchuta and Mesa, which really means there's nothing to do with Ru'yu Leila. So the machlokes really is, we're learning now, Basar v'chalav, the pasuk says, L'shavashel gadi b'chalev imoy. So when chalev imoy, does it mean ru'uya leilid, or chalev imoy really is a way of saying that it has to be chaya? One final and the last teretz is a teretz that's brought in the Cheshek Shleim. He brings the Malbim, he's Meirach in it, and it's the Malbim right here. And they say that Avraham Avinu made the chema, the chalav, the Ben Abakar, he made it with Sefer Yetzirah. You created it with Sefer Yetzirah. The Medayik, the Lashon Apsukim, they say in Lashon Pasuk, the Pasuk says, Uben Abakar Asher Asa. Asher Asa, he made the Ben Abakar. Also, Vayimar Lasas Oisai, how did he make it? Vayimar Lasas Oisai, he made it with Sefer Yetzirah. So B'meila what? So Mamela, he made it, it was a parv. It wasn't not milchaks, not flesh. He made al they say for Yetzirah, and it was, and when you make something that they say for Yetzirah, it doesn't have a din dairy, doesn't have a din meat, there's no basar v'chalav. If you're looking at me that say for Yetzirah, what's the handle? So there's a famous Hachaim Tzvi that speaks about what happens if you make a person with say for Yetzirah, could he be mitzar from Dominion, and the Mishnah Berurah and Siman on Hay brings it. So we're going to speak, this is the discussion of if you use Sefer Yetzirah to create it, and it's not Basar v'chalav. Here again is your question, that Lamaisa, if it's Sefer Yetzirah and it's not Basar v'chalav, so why would the Malachim, Rivas Ephraim has Chuvas, he asks, what does it mean the Malachim ate Basar v'chalav? For them it's a person. So that's the fifth teretz, that there was no, Avraham Avinu wasn't over anything by cooking it, because it wasn't basar, it wasn't chalav, it was parav, there was no bishul. So just to sum up over here, wait a minute, the Meyashiv, the Shaila, the crazy, others ask, that the Gemara speaks, we spoke before, that chalav, how do you know chalav is mutter? So the Shaila is, why don't we bring a raya from Avraham Avinu that chalav is mutter? So the answer, I'll be this, because this chalav is a different chalav, it's chalav Sefer Yetzirah, is no raya. So just to be masakim, we have 5 tirutzim how Avraham Avinu prepared the basar v'chalav. L'chayr, there should have been an isser for Avraham Avinu to prepare it, the bishul basar v'chalav. One we said is that he didn't cook it, the Malachim cooked it while they ate it, they burnt it. The second two tirutzim, 2 and 3, were that they were over on Isurah D'Rabbanan. The next teretz we saw was the Meshech Chachmas teretz, that it was Ben Pekua, so Mela wasn't a din chalav, and we saw it's a machlokes shnuya. And the final teretz is that he made it with Sefer Yetzirah, so vaita, there was no basar, no chalav, and that's how he was able to prepare it.